صلى الله وسلم على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم. 85th and the 86th aspect of Jahiliyyah, that they glorified the landmarks and relics of the deceased prestigious and revered ones, such as was the case with the central town meeting, Dar al-Nadwa. Dar al-Nadwa is where the kuffar used to get together. That was their hanging place, where they used to have their meeting and things like that. Those who were in its power used to brag and boast about it. As it was said to Hakim ibn Hizam, radiyallahu anhu, when he sold Dar al-Nadwa, you have sold the honor of Quraysh. So he said, all honor has passed away except that of piety. Allahu Akbar. Look at this companion, radiyallahu anhu. Shaykh Salih bin Fawzan al-Fawzan, hafidhahullah ta'ala, he said, glorifying the landmarks of prestigious people, such as scholars, kings, or presidents, is done by way of restoring, repairing, and preserving them. Such acts are means that leads to shirk. Because what's going to happen, the people, they're going to start glorifying them and praising them and over-praising them and exceeding the limit until they begin to worship them. They start worshipping them. That's why the Sharia comes to block all the avenue that leads to that. This is from the religious practice of the people of the days of ignorance. This is since there will come a generation afterwards that will say, or the devil will say to them, your forefathers only preserve these relics because they have blessings and good in them. So they will start worshipping them apart from Allah, since the first generation is the one that prepared the means for them. See, now the first generation, they did not worship those relics, those monuments and the like, those landmarks, but they constructed them. They constructed them. And even if they did not worship them, it is a mean that leads to shirk. Because later on, the other generation, they will eventually worship them. Iyadu billah. The Shaykh said, Hafidhahullah ta'ala, so they will start worshipping them apart from Allah, since the first generation is the one that prepared the means for them. And this was done by the devil with the people of Nuh, when he ordered them to create images of their righteous people for the sake of encouraging them to perform worship. So look at the shaitan. Shaitan is very tricky. And he knows how to deal with the people, how to trick them. So the people of Nuh, they had 5 righteous people. 5 righteous people amongst them. And Allah mentioned them in Surah Nuh. وقالوا لا تذرن آلهتكم ولا تذرن ودا ولا سواعا ولا يعوق ولا يغوث ويعوق ونسرا. And they said, do not abandon your deities. So now they call them deities now, because they began to worship them. And they said, do not forsake these 5 that Allah mentioned by their name. And so what happened is, the first generation, they did not worship them. They did not worship them. The shaitan, he said to them, why don't you make images for them, for these righteous people? That way when you see them, you will increase in your ibadah. Not all of them, but some of them they might be. They might be, right? Only you. Look at this. Only you. No one else. we worship, and only you we seek aid from. So if you seek aid from anyone, from the dead or the living, in that which only Allah can do, this is shirk. This is shirk. In that which only Allah can do. But if you ask someone from the living to help you with something he can handle and he can do, this is permissible. Like, for example, you ask someone to help you carry your suitcase, for example. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. But asking someone to give you children, to send down the rain, like the farmers do this. And some of them, they sacrifice to the jinn because they're scared of the jinn going to harm them or the like. This is all shirk billah. It's all shirk billah. So the shirk has not gone. It's still around. It's still around. But the people who live here, they don't know. They don't know what these people do. Because you don't have these things here. You don't have them. When you travel outside America, then you'll see. But now you don't know. طيب. The Shaykh, he said, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he said, this was done by the devil with the people of Noah when he ordered them to create images of the righteous people for the sake of encouraging them to perform worship. So they established this thing with a good intention. However, afterwards, a generation that was ignorant and not aware of the reason came and began to worship them. This is an act from the people of the days of ignorance. They are the ones who glorify the lyrics of the prestigious people, preserving and safeguarding them. Then these relics are later worshipped apart from Allah, even if it happens a long time afterwards. So no one should say the people today are upon a correct religion and upon Tawheed. We say we should not limit our sights to just the present time. Rather, we must look at the future. Even though those alive today are not safe from fitna, from trials. The future is worse. So it is not permissible to give these relics importance. Nothing destroyed the nations of the past except this kind of action, which is that they would glorify the lyrics of their prestigious people to the point that they turned to idols in the future. So the Muslims must be extremely cautious of this matter. The author, rahimahullah, mentioned an example of this, which was Dar al-Nadwa in Mecca. This was the place where the higher class elites from the Quraysh would congregate to consult with one another about important matters. When Islam came and the period of the days of ignorance came to an end, the building of Dar al-Nadwa continued to remain as it was. This was up to the time of the Khilafah of Muawiyah, when it was brought for residential purposes to be used for inhabitants. And so it was changed from its original appearance. The building was purchased from Hakim ibn Hizam, and the people blamed Hakim for this, saying, "Why did you sell this relic, which is from the landmarks of our predecessors. And they said, you have sold the honor of the Quraysh. So he responded, all of the honor has left except for taqwa. Allahu Akbar. And Allah said in the Quran, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The most honorable amongst you is the one who fears Allah the most. طيب. So he responded, all of the honor has left except for taqwa. This answer is derived from Allah's statement, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Verily the most honorable amongst you in the sight of Allah is the one who amongst you with the most taqwa. This is the correct practice reply. And this is the precise reply, which is in conformity to Allah's speech. And this is from the light of knowledge and the light of faith. This proves that it is not permissible to preserve the ancient relics, for this will lead to shirk, even if it is at a later time. And the religion came to prevent of the paths that lead to shirk. So at the end, the Shaykh, he mentioned, it's a qaida al-ulama they use. They call it Saddu al-Dara'i'. Qa'idat Saddu al-Dara'i'. It is a foundation of fiqh that the scholars use, which is to block all the avenue that leads to that which is impermissible. Like, for example, the scholars, they said it is not permissible to sell grapes to someone who is going to turn it into alcohol, even though the origin that the grapes are halal. But because it will serve as a mean for that which is haram. So in this case, you don't sell it. Or you sell pumpkin to someone who's going to celebrate Halloween, for example. He's going to use it to celebrate Halloween. Would you sell it to him? No, you don't sell it. Even though al-asl, the foundation and the origin, that pumpkin is halal. But because this person is going to use it for something haram, so this is the qaida al-ulama use. So anything that leads to al-haram is haram. Anything that leads to al-haram is haram. Walking is halal, right? But walking to commit a sin is haram. Not because walking is haram, because now walking has become a tool to commit that which is a haram. So we say to that person, you walking to commit the sin is haram. So this is a qaida al-ulama use. Anything that leads to a shirk or bid'ah or the sin or the like must be removed, must be blocked. Any means that leads to it must be removed and must be blocked. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us all al-ilm al-nafi' wal-amal salih. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. صلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم.